It is the Nürburgring's short version, which means that instead of going all the way down to the Dunlop curve, there is the short hairpin. But also, unlike the real world, we're going to use the motorbike version of the chicane. It's also used for GT racing and for historic racing. It's the softer version of the chicane at the end of the lap. Now, qualifying is already underway. Let's try and get to the action as quick as we can and see whether anybody in this session is going to be able to beat Norbert Kish, because he has been the dominant driver, as I say, across the qualifying sessions thus far. This evening, though, there is arguably a little bit more opposition to him, because in addition to the regulars like Sasha Lentz, like Tio Calve, there is also Lucas Hahn, third generation racer. And Lucas, whose father Jochen is a multiple European champion, whose grandfather, the late Connie Hahn, was very successful in his own right. Well, Lucas made his race debut at the ADAC Truck Grand Prix last year, not in the European races, but in the ADAC's Mittelrhein Cup, the mix of the British Championship and the local drivers. But he was on the podium in each of the three races. So Lucas Hahn, who is set to graduate to the real world FIA ETRC this year, is certainly going to be a man to watch. Now, news coming from the qualifying session is that Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who has certainly been in the wars a bit with race officialdom this year, he has lost his best lap time. There was an investigation as to him crossing the white line. Also, track limits are being looked at by the officials, but the cancellation of the best lap time for number 38. So Rodriguez, I'm afraid, yet again, is in hot water with the race officials. So the qualifying session is underway, and it's an indication of Norbert Kish's pace, because he is currently the fastest from Sasha Lentz. The margin between them is already 0.7 of a second, but impressively, Lucas Hahn, winning his first outing in the Digital Championship, is third. Now, just to clarify a point from last week, only those that are registered for the season-long FIA ETRC Digital can score points. So the likes of Hahn, Andre, and Bjorn Teichhaus, who is back for another week, they can't score points, but the drivers behind do not move up and take their position. So if you're fourth, but one of the three drivers ahead isn't registered for points, you don't take the third place points. You still take what you would have done for fourth position, even though others ahead of you won't score. So it's going to be a slight quirk to the point system when you look at one or two drivers at the end of the championship. But they're going through is Kish. He's the fastest man thus far, and it is Sasha Lentz doing the chasing in terms of time at the margin. 0.7 of a second. Kish runs way out wide there, uses all of the curve as he powers his way downhill now. Sasha Lentz second fastest, Lucas Hahn third, and Tio Calve is ahead of Antonio Alberti, and then Jonathan Andre, who was impressive a week ago. Now they're going through the motorbike chicane. Goes Norbert Kish. Now, just had another message about Rodriguez losing a lap time for track limits, and that therefore means that he is currently seventh best in time. We're going to get the official look at exactly what has gone on through the session at the end before we get confirmation of a grid. Last year at the Nürburgring, with now less than a lap time left in the session, the winners were in the two qualifying Superpole races from a conventional grid, if you like. The reverse grid winners, Adam Lechko and Adam Lechko is only 12 in the times, and certainly struggling to get his head around against sim racing compared to one or two others. And Adam Lechko should be a man to watch, I would hope, when we go racing. Certainly in the first grid race. There is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. So seventh he is in the times. Let's see whether or not that is where he's going to stay, or whether that is with the cancellation of the lap time already. But for Kish, it is who is the fastest from Sasha Lentz, and then Lucas Hahn putting himself third fastest from Tio Calve and Antonio Alberti. Jonathan Andre sixth ahead provisionally of Rodriguez. Anderson, Teichhaus, Shane Brereton running out the top 10 ahead of Ali and Collage. Adam Lechko a long way back, and then it is Clemens Hecker with the veteran NAM to round out the 13 biggest grid of the season. 13 trucks in the FIA ETRC Digital, so that's encouraging as well. The entry is growing Eduardo Rodriguez then making the run up towards the chicane. Because it's the softer version, it's also the quicker version. It's not a start-stop, so the truck's carrying a bit more momentum into it. Loads of momentum and a complete mess made. Rodriguez ends up spinning nastily into the pit lane, clatters against the barrier. So he got it all wrong through the chicane, was way out wide, couldn't hold the slide, and ends up bouncing into the barrier, into the pit lane. So Rodriguez, slightly shamefaced, comes down the pit road, the Assetto Corsa platform on which the FIA ETRC digital game is run. And now the officials will have a look at that qualifying session to investigate anything they have seen, or indeed any protests that the teams may have put in. If a driver feels that a rival has impeded him in some way, that'll be looked at as well. So the servers then will be reset and we shall get ready for race 1, which is coming up in round about 15 minutes time or so. And before that, the drivers, as I say, will make sure that all is well. They'll get to the new server for the race and we'll have a chance to confirm that grid. Now, there is another message coming up for cancellation of all lap times for track limits, but the number of the truck is not assigned. So there is another story, I think, still loitering in the system. We'll try and get to that in a moment and see who it is that has been getting the attention of race control. We'll, of course, have the Mercedes Actros pace truck leading the field around. We'll also have the Ford F-Max lap before we get underway as well. And we'll have a chance to run through the entry by going into the virtual showroom and having a look at the trucks involved. Of course, all of them running in their real-world race liveries, but with the biggest grid of the season. And it really is fascinating to see Lucas Hahn not only actually in digital racing in the Sim Championship, but in the real world championship as well. He's been testing like quite a few have at Most already, but with his great track record, his great pedigree in track racing, I think Lucas Hahn is going to be one to watch. And so far, although Norbert Kish has done it again with yet another pole position, if anything is
So that is the entry. That has a look at who we can anticipate seeing when we get to the grid, which will be being assembled very shortly. And Norbert Kish, the man for pole position once again. A reminder that there are, of course, 2 races. We have the second race from that reverse grid, as is the tradition, with the top 8 taking the reversal. So the results of race 1, 8th place, will give you pole position for race 2. Norbert Kish qualifying then for pole position ahead of Sasha Lentz, and then newcomer Lucas Hahn taking 3rd at the end of that qualifying session. But now, as I say, the officials will have a look to make sure that everybody has complied with the regulations, and then the grid can be finalised. And while they do that, let's have a look at what the Nürburgring is all about.
Welcome to Nürburgring!
Willkommen am Nürburgring!
It is the biggest event on the FIA ETRC calendar. One of the real sadnesses about all of this is that we can't go to the Nürburgring this year for what is always a huge event, not only in terms of the size of the race entry, but also the size of the crowd and the concerts, the number of people on site for the truck concours, and of course the very popular Go Stop competitions always make it a mega weekend. And hopefully we'll be back bigger and better than ever in 2021. So then, as we get set for our first of the 2 races, Norbert Kish, the man to beat. Don't forget, he has this championship lead over Sasha Lentz. And then 3rd in the standings, Tio Calve. 4th, it is Antonio Albacete. And then Anthony Janiette, well, he is going to, of course, slide down the order progressively with all these weekends he misses, ahead of Jamie Anderson, with the Brit being just 1 point ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Adam Lachko is 8th ahead of Alia Koloc, and then the returning Clemens Hecker. As I say, 13 rigs this evening is our biggest grid thus far within the championship. So the scene is set for what is going to be a spectacular brace of races, no question about it. The short version of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, 3.6 kilometres long, heading down towards the Mercedes Arena. Turn 1, always a pinch point. There's contact possible. If you run deep there, you compromise your way all the way through the long loop of the Mercedes Arena. And when you get to turn 4, go out wide there. You compromise the run down to the hairpin, which again is an overtaking opportunity. You might need to get your elbows out a little bit and try and force up the inside. But turn 5 hairpin and the turn 6 exit of it is always an opportunity to, if you're brave, get up the inside. Now get that hairpin wrong, get your braking wrong, you'll be up the escape road and losing places. After that, you're on the power, going through the left at 7, the right at turn 8, and the speed builds all the time from that point. Head down the hill through turn 9, that fast right-hander, the Ad van Bogen, climb up the hill the other side into the chicane. And it's going to be really interesting this evening with the chicane being the soft version, the faster version of it. Maybe overtaking less easy, because you don't have the start-stop ability to get up the inside and out brake. But because there's extra speed being carried in there, it might mean that drivers, and we saw it in qualifying with Lucas Hahn, for example, carry so much speed in, they make a mistake, get it wrong, and that then triggers drama into the last corner, turn 13 on the lap, which loops you round onto the pit straight, and another lap completed. The races, remember, are 25 minutes plus a lap, but including the pace lap. So the pace lap is counted within the 25 minutes, but then you add on the so-called regulation lap at the end. Rolf Werner, who is the clerk of the course, making sure at the moment that all the drivers are connected to the server, ready for the first of our 2 races. And very shortly, as they start to connect themselves, the grid will take shape. That will confirm to us exactly who is going to start where after 1 or 2 drivers have had times disallowed. And then we will be good to go racing for race 1 here at a virtual Nürburgring. Norbert Kish starts from pole position yet again. Is it going to be the same story of the Hungarian driving off into the distance? Well, we'll find out very shortly indeed, as the opening race is set to get underway. Before it, though, as is the tradition, there will be the laps from, or the lap from the official truck of the FIA ETRC, and indeed the FIA ETRC Digital. And that is the Ford F-Max. And that will do its lap before we get to the pace lap itself behind the Mercedes Actros. So the grid will take shape, and then those 2 laps of the different rigs get us underway effectively to go racing. Over the grid then, Norbert Kish, and alongside him, Sasha Lentz, as we get ready for the Ford F-Max lap here at the Nürburgring.
The show is on. Start your engines. FIA ETRC is ready to race.
So there is the grid starting to take shape. The Ford F-Max completes its lap, and so Norbert Kish is ready now to move forward. The clock starts, ready to get race 1 underway, with Sasha Lentz lining up alongside. The second row of the grid, Lucas Hahn and then Tio Calve. The rest of the field streams away with, you will see, Rodriguez at the rear of the grid. So it is then Norbert Kish, as I say, to start from pole position. Sasha Lentz lines up alongside. The second row of the grid is going to be Lucas Hahn and Tio Calve. Row 3 is where you find Antonio Alberthetti, and alongside him is going to be Jonathan Andre. This is the view from onboard the pace track. On the next row of the grid, there would have been Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, but he is put to the rear of the grid, and that therefore will promote Bjorn Tiehaus to 7th on the grid, alongside Elliot Koloch. You see the order just shuffling a little as the trucks work their way around this pace lap. So Norby Kish, Sasha Lentz, row 1, Hahn on the 2nd row, alongside Tio Calve, that 3rd row, Antonio Albafetti, and then Jonathan Andre to line up alongside. Then it is Tiehaus and Koloch ahead of Jamie Anderson, and in 25, Clemens Hecker. Shane Brereton is on the next row of the grid with Adam Lachko for company, and then it is Rodriguez, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, at the rear of the field. So, I'm afraid to say, the cancellation of lap times or track limits has hurt him, but it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see what progress he can make coming up through the order here. So the trucks now make the run up towards the soft version of the chicane. Just keep an eye to the clock just to see how much of the 25 minutes is eaten into. Bearing in mind they do get a lap back at the end, but the 3.6 kilometre circuit then almost at an end of this pace lap. The trucks then now come through the chicane. Get set and ready to go racing then. And Norbert Kish knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly how to control the pace. He knows exactly where to position the rig on the run down towards turn 1 in order to keep at bay Sasha Lentz. This is the view though from on board. Norbert Kish, the pace truck, peels into the pit lane. Tio Calve is already on his toes on the outside line as we go racing, and it's a good start by Lentz to get the drop on Norbert Kish. They dive down towards turn 1 and Lentz has the advantage. Kish down into 2nd spot already. Calve look on the outside line, trying to defend from Andre Hahn, is all crossed up, and Adam Lachko sideways. Lentz gets contacted by Norbert Kish, and he's off the road into the gravel on the outside line. Kish delayed, I think that was a chain reaction, and it is Lucas Hahn that comes through in the lead. Adam Lachko seemingly is up in a 2nd place, but I think he brakes so late, he rather bounced off people, caused, as I say, the chain reaction, and so it is Lucas Hahn in the lead of the race, being chased by Jonathan Andre. Norbert Kish is 3rd as they come up through turn 4. And then behind, Lachko drops back, so Kish up to 3rd, Lachko is 4th. But it's Lucas Hahn ahead of then Jonathan Andre. The real question is where Sasha Lentz has ended up out of all of that. Antonio Albafetti, I think, is in rather badly delayed as well as they come then now through the hairpin. So Lucas Hahn, German driver on virtual home soil it is, who leads the pack. And straight on goes Adam Lachko. That might have been a netcode problem. Let's see whether Lachko is back on track. Yes, I think he is. So Lachko's still there in 4th place. But right now, it is Hahn leading the way then as they rumble their way up to the Van Bogen for the first time. Now Hahn has got to get on with this, while Norbert Kish picks the fight with Jonathan Andre. They lean on each other up towards the chicane. Lucas Hahn trying to fill the gap in the background. Rodriguez is up alongside the recovering Sasha Lentz. But right now, as they come towards us, the start's under investigation, and Kish is on the inside against Andre, who goes way, way wide. But it's going to gift Norbert Kish 2nd place, isn't it? Through they come. End of lap 1. Real world race 1 last year was a win for Hahn. You see Albafetti is in the pit lane and therefore seemingly out of the race. So very unhappy start to race 1. Antonio Albafetti is out, and there Jamie Anderson on the inside line, look, having a go against Adam Lachko, can't do it. Tiehaus is right there behind him as well as they turn their way now up through the approach to the Mercedes arena. Tiehaus to the inside of Anderson, and through he goes there. The venerable Scania goes through on the inside line and picks the place. So the older truck being driven really well here by Bjorn Tiehaus. He gets sort of sideways, but he does keep Jamie Anderson at bay. Right now, Lucas Hahn leads the way then. At the end of the opening lap, he was a 2.5 seconds to the good, but that gap is only 0.8 now, because on this
second racing lap, so that gap is coming down. There is Rodriguez under attack from Lentz. They touch again. This is the battle for 8th place. Also, of course, pole for race 2, and Lentz goes through. Sasha Lentz moves himself up past the Portuguese driver. With Rodriguez looking at the back of Lentz through he turns. Sasha Lentz onto the power. Now he plunges down the hill, heads towards the Advan-Bogen. So Norman Kish going to work hard for this one. He's in 2nd place. He is bringing down the gap against Lucas Hahn, but he's not yet close enough to make a move. We understand that Alia Koloc had contact with Bjorn Tiehaus on the evening lap as well, so there are quite a few that have had dramas, and of course there are quite a few incidents for Rolf Werner and his team in race control to look at, as here come the leaders. Antonio Albafletti then a retirement, you see in the pit lane there as the leaders come by, but it is Hahn up front at the moment, but the gap is coming down and down and down. Norbert Kish has made short work of Andre, he's made short work of the gap as well. He's right there on the tail of Lucas Hahn. Lucas less experienced in sim racing, less experienced in real world truck racing, but he's doing a good job right now. But he's got to defend for another 17.5 minutes. That's not going to be easy because Norby Kish knows exactly what he is doing here. Jonathan Andre runs 3rd, and then we've had a bit of shuffling behind. Now this is the beauty of Norbert Kish, he's right on the back of the race leader. They're coming down to the hairpin now. Kish brakes late, too late, into the back of Hahn and fires him onto the grass. Bang, into the tyre wall goes Lucas Hahn, and Norbert Kish slows down to allow Hahn to keep the place, but Jonathan Andre gets up the inside of Norbert Kish and takes 2nd place back away from him. Now Norbert Kish tries to defend, and defend he does. Through they come together. Andre then on the attack, and all of a sudden it's 3 for the lead. Now, was that Kish being overly optimistic in braking where he did, or was it Lucas Hahn braking very early? Either way, the net result is that we've got a 3-way battle back all of a sudden. So through they come now on the run, once more up towards the chicane. Hahn, Kish, Andre, that's the order, and they are 3 together now. Tio Calve, who has dropped a long way back, has had a contact with Clemens Hecker, and so this is looking, I'm afraid, like one of Teo's worst races, only in 10th place. Sasha Lentz trying to make progress as well. Albafletti is back into the race, albeit a couple of laps adrift, seemingly. As in, we can't see him in the pit lane anymore, so we'll keep an eye as to whether he is still circulating or whether he's disconnected from the server completely. Now there are the race leaders down to turn 1. Into the Mercedes arena goes this fleet of MANs. Lucas Hahn keeping Kish at bay. You see the way that Andre is being dropped slightly as Lentz gets up the inside of number 29, the Freightliner of Alia Koloc there. So that puts Sasha Lentz 1 place further up the order. So the order is Hahn, Kish and then Andre. In 4th is Jamie Anderson, on target potentially for his best of the year. Adam Latchko running in 5th place now. And that would also be, of course, Adam's best finish of the season thus far. There are the race leaders behaving themselves this time as they go through the hairpin. And Antonio Albafletti in danger of being lapped as the race leaders. This enormous now 12-wheeled MAN leads the way. Jonathan Andre, look, dropping off the back, but so close are the top 2, they're virtually as one. There's Albafletti back up the road. He's a long way adrift as far as the race positions are concerned, but it's more seat time. See May as well, see what he can do ready for race 2 as Norbert Kish plans the overtake. Lucas Hahn tries to edge across, cover off the line. He does so. Brake, but not as hard as he would for the hard version of the chicane. Flick through the left and then through the right, but you've got to get across and cover the line here into the old Coca-Cola curve, turn 13. Up to the end of the lap now. Albafletti for T-Sport Bear now, about to have the race leaders descend upon him. Let's keep an eye on what Jamie Anderson is up to as well. His last lap was quicker than that of Jonathan Andre. There are the leaders, but could we have a change for 3rd place before the end? Could Anderson get up with
the French driver. Out of turn one they go. Antonio Albacete tries to get out of everybody's way, and he does by going off the road. Look back from the leader. It is still Lucas Hahn then, looking for a debut in the championship, and he's all sideways and he's off the road. Can he save it? Yes, he can, but he can't save the race lead. Kish goes by, and Jonathan Andre is on his toes, going for second place as well. He goes way wide now, coming out of turn four, look, and Norbert Kish takes over the race lead. He's going to be laughing all the way to the bank now, because already he's 2 seconds clear. Lucas Hahn, I think, just gave it too much welly, coming out of turn two into turn three, off the road. He's skated, and Norbert Kish is off target now, would you believe, for 7 out of 7. So Kish leads the way, and he's away and gone. Already over 2.5 seconds clear of Lucas Hahn in second place. There is in third spot Jonathan Andre, within fourth, not Albacete, but now Sasha Lentz. Ignore Albacete if you can. I tell you, he's a hard guy to ignore, but he's a lap down. So there is Lentz recovering in fourth place. Now Sasha Lentz is doing a really good job here. Norbert Kish has done the fastest lap of the race so far, but as Sasha Lentz gets into clear real estate, could he go quicker? It's been a really impressive drive by Sasha, trying to get himself back into the mix. He's up towards the timing line now. Comes the second place battle. There is Norbert Kish in the lead. Well, last time through he was behind, and he was 0.3 of a second. This time he leads by over 2 seconds. But actually, Lucas Hahn is taking the fight to him. He's regrouping, he's recovering. What was 2.5 seconds, he's down to 2.1. So don't rule out Lucas Hahn here. If he can get that gap down to within 2 seconds, he's got a chance. This is where he ran wide a lap ago, and it's where now on this lap, right there behind him, is the yellow MAN in the hands of Andre. There's a touch, and that gets Hahn sideways. Can Jonathan Andre seize the opportunity and get up the inside? No. Wisely, he backs out of all of that, and that means, therefore, that the German driver, Lucas Hahn, is able to cover that line off down towards the hairpin. They come almost as one as Norbert Kish gets away up front. But because they're squabbling now for second place, so that gap is coming down between them, but also extending between the leaders. Lachko has got Calve up behind him now for 7th and 8th places. This is your front row battle for race 2. Ali and Koloc is trying to keep your tie house at bay. So you've got all the Freightliners running together pretty much, but not where they want to be in the top 10. Currently 7th, 8th and 9th. Now with Tio Calve is in the back of Lachko's truck. On board now, and Calve just gets into the side of Lachko there. That forces him wide up the curb. Adam tries to regroup, but he's sideways. He does regroup and instantly dives for the inside line there. Look, covers off any challenge from Calve. Tio wide into turn 14. He wants to be on his toes on the way out, and he is. So Tio Calve with the blue mirrors up alongside Lachko with the yellow markings on his identical Freightliner. Here they come up past the pits. Ali and Koloc is under attack as well. Look from your tie houses. They now come across the line. Down towards the right at turn 1 into the Mercedes arena they come. And Tio Calve goes ahead of Lachko. In the distance you see further up the road, Anderson versus Rodriguez for 5th place. But it's Kish, Hahn, Andre, Lentz, the top 4 right now. Tio Calve is charging. Delayed, remember, after a heavy contact earlier on, first of all with Clemens Hecker, then also with Adam Lachko, would you believe, his teammate. But now that he's gone through the traffic, Calve is charging. There is Rodriguez all over the back of Jamie Anderson, who tends to gain places early on when other people have battles and get involved in incidents and fall off the road, and then as they recover they usurp him what was a good position early on. It's 9 minutes on the clock plus the regulation lap. Jamie Anderson goes through, Rodriguez right there behind him. Rodriguez do here as they make the run once more up towards the soft version of the chicane. They flick their way there through the left-right sequence of corners. Looking at Rodriguez, you can see the speed, see the gear that he's in as he comes now onto the pit straight. Anderson is ahead, speed builds. Remember, the trucks are governed to 100 miles an hour. But the battle pack is growing as Lentz goes over the line. Then the lapped Albacete ahead of Jamie Anderson and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez 5th and 6th. Right now, it's going to be tie house for pole position. 29 is under investigation. That's Alia Koloc. 15 is under investigation. That is beyond tie house. There they are. So these two being looked at by race control as they head into turn 1. It's the Mercedes arena now. So Alia Koloc turns towards us, but is currently in 9th spot, so beyond tie house ahead in the Scania, going for pole position, but not for long because a drive-through penalty given to both tie house and Koloc for causing a collision. So Alia Koloc gets a drive-through, beyond tie house gets a drive-through. That's going to help out of Lachko, that'll put him back up into 8th place and pole for race 2. As you see here, the fight for 2nd and 3rd. Lucas Hahn versus Jonathan Andre. It's ironic, isn't it, that neither of them is eligible for points, and yet they're doing so well. Andre going for a third in a row. Lucas Hahn, debut in the championship, having had to defend here. He's fallen a long way back from the race leader. And to recap, a drive-through penalty causing a collision for tie house and also for Alia Koloc. So here's 2nd, 3rd and almost 4th now. Lentz closing all the time. Jonathan Andre a little bit power happy there, coming onto the pit straight. The tail wags out as he accelerates now towards the line. Through they go, past the pits and now down towards turn 1 yet again. So 9 laps are in the book. And through there is Jonathan Andre. Norbert Kish away and gone up the road, now over 4 seconds to the good. And there's also a penalty for Adam Lachko, 10-second penalty for pushing at the start. Now, if you remember, I mentioned he got into the back of traffic, and it looked as though there was a whole chain reaction that was caused, and actually Sasha Lentz was the one that came off worse, while Lachko a 10-second penalty, so we'll have to see where that's going to drop him to, potentially behind Hecker. For 2nd place now, there, looks at the inside line, goes Andre. Can't find a way through, or can he, because Hahn is a little bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Up the inside line goes Jonathan Andre, across the grass, slides Lucas Hahn. So Jonathan Andre goes through. Where is Sasha Lentz in all of this? All over the back of 22, Lucas Hahn is the answer. So Jonathan Andre up into 2nd place, and the early race leader, Lucas Hahn, now he's fighting for his podium finish. Norman Kish leads the way. 5 minutes on the clock, plus that regulation lap at the end. There going through is the yellow MAN. Behind look, 22 is Lucas Hahn. And Lucas is almost there to try to fight back. There's a warning also being given to number 2, Antonio Albacete. Warning, whether it's for track limits or getting in the way of people, we are not told, but driving standards warning at least for Antonio Albacete. He won't like that. Now look at Lentz. In less than 5 minutes on the clock, Lentz lines up to look at Lucas Hahn on the inside line all the way down to turn 1. Brake late, dive into the Mercedes arena now. Very sideways there, look, is Jonathan Andre. And they make the run now up through the Mercedes arena once again. And this is the corner that catches them out. Andre there, looking like he had to correct a slide. Hahn with understeer. What about Sasha Lentz in all of that? Does Lentz go through side by side? But Hahn comes out just ahead as they accelerate now, down to the hairpin again. Sasha Lentz looks up the inside line. Albacete trying to match his pace against the squabblers ahead of him. There's Lentz going deep into the hairpin, understeering out wide. So Albafete unlaps himself now. Under the Goodyear gantry, of course, in the real world, it's Goodyear rubber on which they run in the FIA ETRC. The support of the company reflected in the digital championship as well. There going through is Lucas Hahn. Now, is he going to be able to get back onto terms here in the sunshine with Jonathan Andre? I suspect not now. He's been so busy defending, Andre's got away. Making the climb now up the hill once again. Chicane, goes second, goes third, goes the lapped Albafete, and all of that means, of course, that Lentz now is a rather distant fourth, having run out wide at the hairpin. You can see how much time he's lost. Over the line goes Jonathan Andre. The gap that he is trying to make up, and it's for more hope, we've got to admit, he's over 6 seconds now. Indeed, this time around, it's going to be, what, 8 seconds, in fact, to the race leader Norbert Kish. Behind him is Lucas Hahn in that third place. Currently fourth is Sasha Lentz. Currently fifth is Jamie Anderson. Sixth is Rodriguez. Seventh is Calve. And then eighth on the road is Adam Lachko. Now bear in mind, he has got this 10-second penalty. To see is whether the penalty on the graphic is included now or post-race, because if it's included now, he's okay to be 8th. If it's included post-race, then clearly he will drop behind Hecker. Don't think that Tie House has yet taken that drive-through. Ali and Koloc, I suspect, may have done. And Antonio Albafete is the one that's always going to be in 13th place because of being a couple of laps down early on. Have a look in the background there, look, you can see the Rodriguez and Anderson battle with Rodriguez ahead there. So that's not bad going. 5th he is from the very back of the grid after penalties at the end of Superpole. Out of the chicane goes the second, third, and then effectively 13th queue of trucks, because Albafete 2 laps down is still running at the same pace as these rigs. There'll be one more lap in the time, and then the regulation lap at the end as they come through now. A warning is being given to Rodriguez, driving standards warning to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez then this time around. So the race leaders go through, waiting for Adam Lachko to come across the line. He's a long way adrift of Tio Calve now, that is for sure. So there is Lentz. As I say, the clock will hit 0 on this lap, and then we are going to, of course, have the regulation lap tagged on at the end. Sasha Lentz 4th, so this is a frustration for him. It's going to be the first time Sasha is off the podium all year, would you believe? So there is Hahn. He runs currently in that third place. There going through is Sasha Lentz behind the lapped Albafete. Rodriguez chases on next in the queue with Anderson and then Tio Calve. Adam Lachko still shown as 8th place. I think he put the penalty on. Clemens Hecker will get ahead of him. There is Lentz, who tries to come up and have a go at a sideways Antonio Albafete as they start the last lap now. Norbert Kish goes through. Kish looking, as ever, absolutely dominant. Now, where do we stand in terms of the fastest lap of the race? It is Norbert Kish who has done the fastest lap. 1 minute 50.738 to Norbert Kish.
as the fastest lap of the race thus far. So through they turn. There is the lapped Albufetti ahead of Sasha Lentz. As they come up towards us once more, Lentz being a bit frustrated here that he can't just yet find a way by. Confirmation that we are on the final lap of the race here. Down to the hairpin. It's going to be this man for a magnificent 7. Norbert Kish then will be 7 out of 7 as he comes out of the S's now. Jonathan Andre's best thus far of his limited part season. He's on target for second spot. But look at that. Norbert Kish with the road to himself. Speed up to the maximum of 100 miles an hour, just nudging it as best it can to go ahead of that of the slight quirk of the telemetry. But he comes up towards the chicane. And so Norbert Kish looks set to win yet again. Race win 7 after a 4th pole position. Brakes as late as he dares, going up now towards the right-hander of turn 13. And so Norbert Kish is going to win race 1 from the Nürburgring. Norbert Kish is victorious yet again. 7 out of 7 as he comes across the line. Norbert Kish wins. Second will go the way of Jonathan Andre, and for 3rd place it is Lucas Hahn. 4th across the line is Lentz. Then there's the lapped Albufetti just ahead of who comes through next. It is Rodriguez ahead of Anderson, and then it is Tio Calve. And you see the gap before Adam Lachko will come into view. So there is Lachko only, relatively speaking, just ahead of Clemens Hecker. Lachko is yet to come by. He's then going to get the penalty. So I would offer you, as we look back from Lachko's truck now, that when you add the penalty on, Tiehouse will be next. Now, did Tiehouse serve his drive-through? Don't think he did. So surely that's going to give Clemens Hecker 8th place, because time penalties will have to be added on for Tiehouse. He's ahead on the road, but then you start to apply these penalties. Bjorn Tiehouse was given a drive-through. Whether he took that, we did not see. So it rather looks to me as though Clemens Hecker will inherit 8th place. But on the road, you've got Lachko, then Tiehouse, then Hecker ahead of there, Shane Brereton and Alia Koloc with Albufetti next. But there are penalties for Lachko, Tiehouse, and also for Koloc. So, Norbert Kish has done it again, and we will hear from the race winner very shortly. Norbert Kish victorious at the end of our first race of the evening. As I say, there are now 1 or 2 penalties to have a look at. But Norbert Kish, what a championship. Norby, well done. 7 out of 7. How easy was that win?
See the podium is the confirmation of terms of the classification. There are going to be these penalties to be looked at because Adam Lachko got his 10-second penalty. You just heard Norbert Kish talking about some pushing going on at the very start. Well, it was Adam Lachko that was the guilty party, so he gets 10 seconds. But then also there was that drive-through given to Bjorn Teichhaus and to Alia Koloc, which we did not see them take. So that normally, if you don't take it, either translates into a 30-second time penalty, or depending on what the race director feels, Rolf Werner, the clerk of the course, the race director role is his to assume for these races, whether or not he is going to exclude them from the race. So I'll have to wait and see what happens there. Let's try and grab a word with Sasha Lentz, though, who takes 4th place. Sasha, 4th, well done, but not the result you wanted, and it was all because of contact, a crash at turn 1. Sasha, I thought we had in our streaming room, but we'll try and get to him in a moment. Sasha having been leading into the first corner and then having dramas going through that corner with the contact, that big push that went on from the traffic behind. So Sasha Lentz will, in the end of that opening race, take 4th place. That puts him mid-grid and ahead, of course, of Norbert Kish going into the reverse grid race, the second race of the evening. So right now, the drivers will have a chance to forge any protests. Let's see if we can have another try at talking to Sasha Lentz. Sasha, a frustrating first race for you, 4th place, but well done on that. Danke, Sasha. Sasha saying that he's really enjoying sim racing. That's what he said at the end. But to begin with, saying that he was a bit frustrated because of the contact. He had a good fight back, good battle with Lucas, and very happy with his pace. So he was making a good recovery up through the field. He's happy with that, enjoying sim racing, but disappointed with the contact early on in the race. So Sasha Lentz starting 4th for race 2. So the drivers now have a chance to go and connect to the server ready for the second race. We will confirm the result in due course. The race officials will have a look at all the evidence and any protests will be confirmed. And in the meantime, what we will do as we get set for the all-action reverse grid race is take a short break, but do not go away because you will not want to miss the action of race 2 here from the Nürburgring. Race 2 in the FIA ETRC Digital Championship coming up in a few minutes' time. Bye for
now. At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Burtenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Burtenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
Our mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and better all-weather capability. Excellent mileage levels, significantly improved traction throughout the tire life. And FuelMax Gen 2. Exceptional fuel efficiency, increased mileage, and better all-weather capability. Excellent fuel efficiency, significantly improved all-weather capability. Gen 2. More innovative, more advanced, better for business. Welcome to the next generation. The new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range from Goodyear.
At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Burtenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Burtenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
Our mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and better all-weather capability. Excellent mileage levels, significantly improved traction throughout the tire life. And FuelMax Gen 2. Exceptional fuel efficiency, increased mileage, and better all-weather capability. Excellent fuel efficiency, significantly improved all-weather capability. Gen 2. More innovative, more advanced, better for business. Welcome to the next generation. The new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range from Goodyear.
At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Bortenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Bortenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and better all-weather capability. Excellent mileage levels, significantly improved traction throughout the tire life. And FuelMax Gen 2. Exceptional fuel efficiency, increased mileage, and better all-weather capability. Excellent fuel efficiency, significantly improved all-weather capability. Gen 2. More innovative, more advanced, better for business. Welcome to the next generation. The new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range from Goodyear.
At home in Germany, on the go in the world. Every year, up to 20,000 vehicles drive from our depot in the Swabian town of Burtenbach out into the world.
Novum is our new fully revised trailer concept. Novum not only introduced the new external frames and body, but also the new optimally designed Kugel modular system with optimized uniform new modulus assemblies and components.
In the category concept, first place was awarded to Burtenbach.
Kugel's innovative Novum generation trailers have been awarded the International Industry Prize Trailer Innovation 2019 in the Supreme Discipline concept at IAA Commercial Vehicles.
Our mission is to move your freight, thereby making our contribution to your profitability, so that your cargo arrives quickly, safely, and efficiently. Today, tomorrow, always.
At Goodyear, we understand the challenges of business. Your fleet is out on the road working hard, and you need tires you can rely on. Tires that are more innovative, more advanced, more versatile, and most importantly, better for business. Introducing the new K-Max and FuelMax Gen 2 range. K-Max Gen 2. Superb mileage, optimal fuel efficiency, and
was that so Jose Eduardo Rodriguez will have to serve a drive-through penalty within this race for an incident in race 1. That means Bjorn Tyhouse will start on pole position, and it will be Tio Calve up alongside him. Then we have on the second row of the grid Jamie Anderson and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, with Sasha Lentz starting on the third row with Lucas Hahn for company. On the fourth row of the grid, Jonathan Andre, and alongside him Norbert Kish, with Clemens Hecker and Shane Brereton next, with Alia Koloc and Adam Natchko behind. Adam Natchko's 10-second penalty dropping him to virtually last place. I say virtually because there was Antonio Alberthetti still behind, and he is last on the grid on the basis that he made a pit stop and lost 3 laps to Norbert Kish. So that's the grid ready to go, and we are just about set, I think, for the Ford F-Max lap, which will get things underway here at the Nürburgring.
The show is on. Start your engines. FIA ETRC is ready to race.
And so the pace lap gets underway. Everybody accelerates off the line. And remember, there's going to be this drive-through penalty, this Damocles penalty hanging over Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. There from near the rear of the grid goes Adam Lachko. So 25 minutes plus a lap, including the pace lap. So 25 minutes underway now. So some of the race duration, of course, eaten into by the time taken on the pace lap, but we'll get the race itself underway very shortly. And is Norbert Kish going to come through as a race winner yet again? Can he maintain this 100% record? Well, he will be 8th on the grid, but that's no barrier to success, as we have seen. Bjorn Tiehaus then lining up alongside Tio Calve on the front row. Now, Tio Calve, one would have thought, given his pace in previous events, should be a potential race winner here, but that is certainly in the reverse grid FIA ETRC races no guarantee. We have seen him be unlucky in the past. It's not only you've got to cut across and try and get the inside line going into the first corner, you've also got to try and be mindful of what's going on behind, because remember, in the first race there was contact, that push from the traffic behind. It was in fact Adam Lachko that did the pushing, and that therefore shuffled the order as people ran out wide. Sasha Lentz, the big casualty, but he fought back really well after that skirmish. But back from Tio Calve's truck, there is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Well, what can he do with that penalty? Serve it as soon as, I would have thought, because that means the pack will be together. Could he serve it at the end of this lap even? Because that would perhaps get him into the mix sooner, rather than any gaps open up. Lachko from the rear, it's going to be a big ask for him. How long before Norbert Kish hits the front? Because surely, given what we've seen out of Norby thus far in the championship, you wouldn't bet against him in this race, would you? So Bjorn Tiehaus for pole position. Tio Calve lining up alongside. Then that second row, Jamie Anderson and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who will carry the penalty from race 1 into race 2. Third row, Lentz and Hahn. Second generation and third generation racers. Lucas Hahn not going for points, but certainly going to see how good a result he can get, having been third in that earlier race. Jonathan Andre and Norbert Kish next on the grid, ahead of Clemens Hecker, then Shane Brereton, Alia Koloc, ahead of penalised Adam Lachko, which is why he's 12th on the grid after race 1. So then, with almost 3 minutes having been eaten into, we are set to get race 2 here, race 8 of the championship underway. Bjorn Tiehaus is the man on pole position then, as the trucks now start to accelerate their way up towards the timing line. And in a moment, the signal will be given from Rolf Vanderlee, clerk of the course, and we will go racing at the Nürburgring. Who makes the best start? Lentz pulls to the outside line, but it's Calve levelling with Tiehaus as they rumble their way down towards turn 1. Kish goes for the inside line, and he's blocked by Hahn, and in turn blocks Andre. Lentz gets squeezed out to the outside line. It is Bjorn Tiehaus that leads them. Out wide goes Calve, and he's not the only one to go out wide in all of that, so Tiehaus leads. Hahn is up to second, Calve third. Andre is on the grass. Calve and Hahn together. Calve way sideways. Norbert Kish runs out wide. He's in the traffic as Andre dive bombs Alia Koloc, goes through on the inside line. Hahn runs out wide at turn 3. There's the leader, that's Tiehaus just ahead. So through turn 4 for the first time, they swing, and now the run down towards the hairpin. And there's drama in the background with Norbert Kish getting involved with one of the Freightliners. Was that Koloc or Lachko that got into the championship leader? The unstoppable Norbert Kish may well have been stopped by the traffic here. Tiehaus leads as they come towards us. And now the field accelerates up towards the S's for the first time in race trim, with the start under investigation. But right now, Bjorn Tiehaus leads the way in the Scania. We never had to say that before in the ETRC. Turn 1 under investigation. But Tiehaus leads the way. In second place is Calve. Then in third spot as they rumble towards us is the hard-charging Lucas Hahn. Fourth on the road is Rodriguez, but remember he's got that penalty that he's going to have to serve. And then behind Rodriguez as they come into the chicane, the best of the rest looks like being Jamie Anderson. There's Andre in that mix as well, and Jonathan Andre is working his way forward, and there Calve gets into the back of the leader. That forces Tiehaus out wide. Is Calve going to seize the opportunity? Yep, he is. Up the inside he comes now. So that delayed Calve as they come over the line. The start, turn 1 and all of lap 1 under investigation here as the leaders come down to the Mercedes arena for the second time in race trim. Brake hard. Where in all of this is Norbert Kish? We'll find out at the end of the lap, because as the field is still pouring over the line, it's Tiehouse, Calve, Hahn, then Rodriguez ahead of Andre, Koloch, Lentz. Kish is 8th still. Norbert Kish is 8th with Fatmate, that's 7th now. Lentz behind him, so there they are, but Lentz up the inside line. They lean on each other again. Lentz up the inside, goes through, retakes the place. Great racing this. Sasha Lentz goes back through. Clemens Hacker is 9th. Albafetti is 10th. Then it's Shane Brereton with Anderson down to 12th after dramas, and Adam Lachko behind him. So Lachko, it was that we saw getting all crossed up and delaying. Kish, who's up the inside of Lentz there. This is the round the hairpin, and Norbert Kish will go through here. Look at Tiehouse and Calve together. Rodriguez has yet to serve the drive-through penalty. If he doesn't hurry up about it within 3 laps, then the officials are not going to take kindly. There is an investigation involving, as you see, Hahn go out wide, Lentz and Kish. And Hahn is all over the grass, gets back onto the racetrack just ahead of Lentz, who's going to be compromised. Now, up towards the chicane, it is all kicking off. Bjorn Tiehouse has lost his lead to Tio Calve. Can Calve get away from the pack now? Rodriguez comes up to challenge. Then it's Andre in 4th. In 5th place right now is Alia Koloch having the race of her life, and Rodriguez into the back of Andre, gets into the back of Tiehouse, gets into the back of Calve. It all kicks off, and Tiehouse is the one that loses out. Calve will lead onto the pit straight, but it's a typical elbows out second race, reverse grid race here at the Nürburgring. Look, Norbert Kish suddenly is back at the races. As they come by now, it's Calve ahead of the penalised Rodriguez, yet to serve the drive-through. And as they dive down towards turn 1, there is Jonathan Andre on the outside line. Alia Koloch was next, but Alia is under attack, losing out already to Norbert Kish. So Kish is up to 4th. It doesn't matter what you throw at him in a race to fracas, he's able to make the best of it. And look at the way he's charging on now. Rodriguez under investigation for an incident with 29 Alia Koloch now. If there's an incident, you can almost bet your house on the fact Rodriguez won't be far away from it. Well, there he is, under attack from Andre, on the back of Calve, the race leader. 17 minutes plus the regulation lap to go. Norbert Kish trying to charge up through the field. Calve not getting away here. The Freightliner run by the Czech Bagheera racing team, normally very fleet of foot. It was a winning truck here in the real world last year. Adam Lachko won race 2 of 4 behind the wheel of a Freightliner. But right now, Calve, although he is the leader, he's not getting away. A drive-through penalty for Rodriguez for an incident in race 1 is now confirmed on TeamSpeak. So now that is the indication that Rodriguez must serve it. Through the chicane, they come, and does Rodriguez bail for the pit lane now? No, he does not. He stays in that battle pack, if anything, getting closer to Calve. So this is the 4, make it really 3 for the lead. Trouble is, though, now Rodriguez, we know, is such a live wire, he could trigger anything in all of this before he serves that drive-through penalty. Over the line they come now. Kish goes to the inside line to try and get past Jonathan Andre, but he's not going to be able to find a way by there. Yes, he is. He comes from a long way back, but he's done it. Norbert Kish does go through, breaks late, and so Jonathan Andre, who is certainly showing good pace, forced out a little bit wide, and that brings Sasha Lentz into the mix. But Tio Calve, you are on borrowed time here, because don't forget, not only is Kish looking quicker than anybody, but Rodriguez, sooner or later, is going to have to exit to the pit lane to serve the drive-through, and that's going to give Kish a clear ride through the pack. Down they come into the hairpin. There is Kish right on the back now, look, of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. As long as Rodriguez is there defending, that gives Calve a chance. Tries to get him away from the pack. There is Clemens Hacker further back. He is now behind Shane Brereton. We've just had a change for the last place in the top 10, and therefore the last place that scores points. Clemens Hecker up through the S's, rides the curb. And Shane Brereton's oh so distinctive Purple People Eater runs way wide up onto the curb as he plunges downhill now towards the Advan Bogen. In other words, through turn 9 he goes, and then up towards the chicane. Contact up the road ahead there, that looked like, yeah, it is Alia Koloc off the road at the chicane with a bit of help. And who was behind her? It was Albafetti, and Koloc now has to try to sort herself out and get back into the race, but in doing so loses place after place. Shane Brereton goes 9th, and Hecker will be in the top 10 now. Alia Koloc rejoins and then goes for the pit lane. Somewhat frustrated, and interesting to see whether there's going to be an investigation about that, as that's Lucas Hahn. Now, Lucas has not shone in the second race as he did in the first when he led for a time. Bjorn Tiehaus was on pole, remember, but he has also dropped back in the pack. Calve leading Norbert Kish by effectively 1.5 seconds, and Kish still stuck behind Rodriguez, who has still not taken the drive-through. Andre sideways next up. Lentz goes for the inside line. Now Lentz has a chance here if he can get on the back of Kish of getting ahead of Norbert, while Norbert is still stuck behind the Portuguese driver. Now, under investigation is Antonio Albafetti. That I suspect is going to be for the incident with Koloc, and yes, it is, that's confirmed. There's Rodriguez, powers out of the hairpin and up the grass. Norbert Kish knows how to bide his time, not make mistakes. Rodriguez is in second place on the road, but still with this penalty hanging over him. Sasha Lentz up to 4th on the racetrack, going after Norbert Kish. Jonathan Andre is behind. 6th is Hahn, 7th is Tiehaus now. Now what can Lentz do? He's got to get on with this, try to catch Kish before Kish gets up past Rodriguez, who goes defensive. Look, coming up towards the chicane. Sasha Lentz closing. Breaks later and later to try to get onto the back of Kish. Norbert Kish for the inside line, and Rodriguez defends for all he's worth. He doesn't have to because he's got to serve the drive-through. But Rodriguez, I think he's going to stay out for as long as he possibly can. Drive-through was for an incident with Calve in the first race. There you see Alia Koloc in the pit lane. And Calve leads by a decreasing margin, actually. Rodriguez being spurred on by having Kish behind with 12 minutes to go, closing on the race leader. But Lentz is going to be a real factor in all of this. If Norbert Kish leaves half a truck's width, Lentz will be up there like a very excitable ferret. So let's see what he can do as he drops down to turn 3 now. You see at the back of this group, Jonathan Andre. Norbert Kish again, look, goes to the inside line against Rodriguez. Norbert Kish almost tickling the tail of the number 38 MAN. Everybody with the same type of truck here for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th on the road. But that drive-through not yet taken by Rodriguez then, so he runs in this notional 2nd place. There's Andre going through on the tail of Lentz, who is right there on the back of Kish. It's game on, 2nd, 3rd, 4th on the road, and this is Sasha Lentz's view. Speed building, head downhill now. Under that ETRC gantry through the kink at turn 9, but it's a pretty quick corner. Make the climb around the back of the always busy paddock at the ADAC Truck Grand Prix, and now brake hard for the chicane, and Kish is still with the curbs there, being bitten away at, looking for a way past Rodriguez, but where does Lentz go? Rodriguez goes to the pit lane, so he serves the drive-through now, and this is Lentz's chance maybe to have a go, as down the pit road comes Rodriguez. Now let's see how much time that is going to lose him. 2nd when he came in. By staying out as long as he has, he will be able, I suspect, to hang on to a place in the top 10. It's about 20 seconds for the drive-through. Down to turn 1. But now, with 10 minutes to go, it is Calve in the lead with Kish, Lentz, and then Andre chasing on behind. Through they turn. Now, what can Lentz do about Kish? Can he go ahead of him, or will Kish catch Calve for the lead here? This has all the makings now, with 4 of the championship's top drivers are being a really good way to round out the action at the Nürburgring, and any one of those 4 could come through. Yes, your money must be on Kish because of what he's achieved thus far. But right now, Calve is doing a good job of hanging on to the advantage, but he can't afford to put a wheel wrong. And Lentz, if he can stay with Kish, has a chance. So does Andre. He's closing up as well. Now with Rodriguez having gone to the pit lane, that puts Lucas Hahn up into 5th place. Bjorn Tiehaus 6th. So at the moment, Bjorn looking as though he's on for a best yet in the FIA ETRC Digital. What about Calve? Can he score a race win? There's another drive-through coming for number 38, Frederic Rodriguez, cutting the white line at the pit exit, would you believe? So he served the drive-through, but because he drove over the white line that race directors always tell him to treat like a barrier, he's getting another drive-through penalty. There he is on the back of Antonio Albafetti. Rodriguez, you could forgive him if he felt a bit picked on here, but I said he was a live wire. He's going to get another drive-through penalty. He's not going to take it yet, that's for sure. Albafetti runs 7th at the moment. So Tio Calve leads the way. Tio Calve has had 2 second places thus far, and he leads by what was a second and a half from Norbert Kish, but he's now about half a second from Norbert Kish. It is very definitely game on for the race lead. Rodriguez goes through in 8th on the road. Little good will it do him. So the order on track: Calve, Kish, Lentz, Andre, Hahn is 5th from Tiehaus. Here, 7th is Albafetti, from 8th, Rodriguez. 9th is Shane Brereton, Clemens Hecker is 10th, then it's Lachko with Alia Koloc in the pit lane, and Jamie Anderson is still circulating, but 4 laps back. So Jamie Anderson badly delayed early on. Now there is Norbert Kish, the Hungarian driver with the national flag colours on the mirrors, on the back of Tio Calve. He's shaken off Lentz. Tio, you've got to defend like never before for 7.5 minutes and a lap. This is a big ask of the young French driver, and look how close Norbert Kish is. Now where does he go to make that move? Is it up at the chicane? Calve tries to cover off the line and will succeed in so doing here. Into the braking zone, but not too much pace carried in, because if you do bounce wide, that leaves the door wide open. Calve moves across to the inside line. That means that Norbert Kish has to go to the outside, up towards the Coca-Cola curve. A little bit of a brush, that forces him out wide. The inside line is what he wants at turn 1, but can Calve cover it off? Let's see, on board with Kish. Past the pits they come. Tio Calve still leads, but by a 1/5 of a second now. 6 3/4 minutes to go, plus 1 lap down towards turn 1. Kish closing right up here. You've got to say, it feels inevitable, doesn't it, that Norby's going to find a way by out of turn 2 now. This is a really tricky section of the circuit. You've got to be really patient with the power here, and indeed with the braking. Otherwise, you run out wide, and Kish gets right onto the tail of Tio Calve. Go as slow as you want, Tio, as long as you still lead, really. Bounce over the curve now. He's going to fire across to the inside line, otherwise Norbert Kish will move up the inside. He thinks about it, he's going to have a go. Jonathan Andre, 10-second penalty for a jump start. There are the race leaders going through. And now look, Lentz is coming back at Norbert Kish. Also 38, would you believe it? Rodriguez plus 10 seconds for a jump start. So he's got another drive-through to serve and a 10-second penalty. When it's not your day, it's not your day. So, Lentz getting back closer to Kish. Kish stuck behind Calve. 5.5 minutes to go. The 4 leaders on the road almost together, and Lentz, in a sense, is the man to watch to see whether he can make a move against Kish before Kish makes his move against the leading rig of Calve that goes potentially a little bit too deep around the hairpin. Onto the pit straight now. Over the timing line once again. Norbert Kish could barely be closer to Tio Calve for the race lead with less than 5 minutes on the clock. But Lentz needs to be another truck's length, maybe 2 closer, so he can have a proper go. Or is he waiting for it to end in tears ahead of him and pick up the pieces? I don't think he's close enough. Calve is going to go deep here at turn 3 if he's not careful. Scrabbles back, takes the line for the corner. Kish still stuck behind him. Tio Calve's father, Fabien, is the French commentator for this championship. He will be going Garrity next door as they brake hard. Tio Calve leads the way. Norbert Kish is right there behind him. Lentz almost on the tail of Kish now. Any one of these 3 leaders could win it. Discount Andre from this because he's got a 10-second penalty. In a sense, Calve's best chance is for Lentz to come up and give Kish a hard time. A black flag now for Rodriguez. He's not served his second drive-through and he's got a 10-second penalty. The clerk of the course has lost patience. So Rodriguez is being given a black flag. So into the chicane they come. There's no change in the order, but is Calve a little bit too quick this time? It looked like he carried too much pace in. He rides the curb on exit. He hangs on to the lead. Will he go deep into the final corner on the lap? He does, but he just gets it back to the apex in time. Now it's Kish that goes out wide. Does that give Lentz a chance to challenge as they hit the pit straight here? As they come by, Lentz looks for the inside line. But he's not able to dive up the inside. Jonathan Andre is still 4th on the road, but will drop behind Lucas Hahn if you apply the penalty post-race. Through they turn now. So there is number 20, Tio Calve, leading the way. They're going to get certainly this lap and one more, I would say, within the time, and then the regulation lap. So 3 laps for Calve to defend. It is not easy, far from it. Any tiny error, any understeer or oversteer will throw the race back in the way of Norbert Kish. You can see he's got the pace, goes for the inside line, but Calve, looking at his screen, which has the effective mirror on it, covers off the line, down to the hairpin. Come on, Sasha Lentz, he must be thinking, get up and try and attack Norbert for me. Lentz, though, is, I suspect, like I say, waiting to see what develops ahead, and only then is he going to pounce. Andre dropping away ever so slightly in 4th position. 3 for the lead as they come here, out of the S's. Norbert Kish runs it up a little bit wide. And a warning going to Norbert Kish for track limits now. So Norbert Kish, track limit warning, as he's on the back of Tio Calve with 2 to run at the end of this. The clock will hit 0 on the next lap of the race. So that's great news that there's this 1 lap extra because of the pace lap being included for the likes of Norbert Kish. It's really bad news for Calve. It means he's got to defend for even longer. He's on the pit straight. Speed building now. Through goes Tio Calve. Norbert Kish behind him with 1 minute and 15 seconds as they come towards us now. Sasha Lentz still there in 3rd place. Sasha goes for the inside, so does Norbert Kish. Is this a chance to challenge for the race lead? It's a thought, but it's no more than that as Kish tries to distract Calve. Penultimate lap of the race. The only bonneted truck represented on the grid these days is the Freightliner, and it is one of those that leads the way. Tio Calve, who's yet to do real-world racing for the Bagheera Racing squad, leads in the FIA ETRC Digital, and he's on the absolute limit, and he's all sideways out of turn 4, down to the hairpin. This is Norbert Kish's chance to challenge on the outside line. Now, if Calve can hang him out to dry, does that give Lentz a chance to challenge? Calve still leads the way, and now at the inside line tries to go Lentz, but to no avail. There's a penalty being given to Jamie Anderson, 10 seconds for causing a collision, but I think he's rather given up on this race, as Jamie say you can ignore that for the moment, as here are the leaders with Kish having to defend right royally now from Lentz, and he's on the attack against Calve. 1 more lap to go at the end of this, and this is the fiercest race lead battle we have had all championship. There are 3 of them in it, and there's a lap to go. Kish on the back of Calve. Lentz on the back of Kish. 1, 2, 3. They flick out of the chicane. Jonathan Andre is there, but remember he's got that penalty. Kish goes for the inside line. Race lead is about to change with a lap to go. Norbert Kish gets up the inside of Tio Calve, but he can't make it stick there. On to the last lap they go now. Tio Calve is within a lap of making history by being the first person to defeat Norbert Kish all championship. What's also happened as Kish goes for the inside line is that Lentz has dropped away by a length also. Brake hard, go down to turn 1 now. There'll be an awful lot of people cheering Tio Calve along here as he is set to be, if he can hang on in there for just a little bit longer, the first person, the only person to beat Kish thus far. And the most vocal champion of his efforts is going to be his father in the French commentary room. But Calve's going to go a little bit deep at 2. Kish tries to get up alongside it there at 3. Can't do it into 4. Here they come. Teo, you've got to get that inside line boxed off. Will he do so? Move to the inside line. Yes, he does. Norbert Kish will have another chance to challenge, maybe on the run into the corner, gets into the back of the Freightliner. The Bagheera team that has been successful in circuit racing for tracks and rally raids like the Dakar Rally. And Tio Calve's new signing for 2020 is there in the lead. Half a lap to go. All of a sudden, a defeat for Norbert Kish might be on. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe you could argue it had to happen sooner rather than later. But Tio Calve leads the way. That said, we are not done yet. There is the chicane, and there's the last corner to go. Here they come then, up towards the chicane. Kish flicks through the left, flicks through the right. Calve is sideways. He's hung on in there for a race, but Kish gets up the inside, challenges, can't do it. Calve's going to go wide. It's going to be a real scrabble to the line, but Tio Calve is going to hang on in there. Tio Calve will win for the first time this season. Second is Norbert Kish, and third it's Sasha Lentz with Jonathan Andre. Fourth on the road. Let's see where the penalty puts him. Lucas Hahn comes through next. Lucas Hahn will go fourth. Then it is Ford Tiehouse who comes across the line just ahead of Antonio Albafetti. And where does the penalty put Jonathan Andre is the question. We'll confirm it in a moment. Tiehouse was able to fend off Albafetti, and then it's going to be Shane Brereton here, look, who is next across the line. So it will put Andre behind Hahn, that is all. Shane Brereton goes across the line with Clemens Hecker next. But we've had history made. Tio Calve is a race winner, and perhaps more importantly, Norbert Kish is defeated. And that was a mighty race. Norbert Kish plus 2 seconds for pushing another truck. So Tio Calve is the winner, and Norbert Kish is going to drop to third behind Sasha Lentz for contact. So Norbert Kish gets a penalty. So Tio Calve is the winner, Sasha Lentz second, Norbert Kish third. I know Teo is going to want to talk to his father in the French channel. We better have a quick word in the English room first. Tio Calve, well done, a first win and the first person to beat Norbert Kish. What a feeling.
Yes, finally.
How hard was that with Norbert so close for so many laps in that second half of the race?
Yes, that was hard to keep him behind, but I did it and I'm really happy.
Were you aware of the little bit of contact when he gave you a push, or were you so focused on your own race?
Yes, I was focused. Norbert touched me 1-2 times, but it's okay. It's the race, you know. So I finished first, and I'm very happy.
Go and talk to your father in the French room. Teo, bravo,
Okay.
well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So Tio Calve makes history, as I say. Not only is that his first win in the FIA ETRC, whether it's digital or real world, or indeed he makes history by beating Norbert Kish. Take it either way. But it is certainly a great result, and it now does finally prove that Norbert Kish can be beaten. Not only that, Norbert Kish gets that penalty. So Sasha Lentz promoted to second, and Norbert Kish with that 2-second penalty drops to third position. Wow. Drama indeed in the FIA ETRC Digital here from the Nurburgring. Great racing, and Tio Calve being able to hang on in there with Sasha Lentz promoted to second and Norbert Kish ending up in third place. We can talk to Norbert now. Norbert, it had to happen, I guess, sooner or later, but you've been beaten. We haven't said that before.
Yeah, well, it was a good race again, but yeah, I got delayed in the first couple of laps, so I was coming from quite far behind. But yeah, you know, still coming up to second place is nice.
Now, you had a penalty for a bit of contact, but we've just heard that Sasha got the same penalty for pushing you. So you hang on to second place, and he ends up behind you anyway.
Ah, okay. Okay. Okay, that's a little bit of a surprise, but yeah, yeah, I tried to keep my nose clean in this race, and I think it was, I don't remember who I pushed, but okay, maybe it happened.
But you said after race one, race two with that reverse grid is always about keeping out of trouble. It's great for the fans because there's so much action, of course.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, reverse grid race is always great for the fans, and it's also quite exciting for the drivers, but it's very difficult, you know, and in sim racing, it's not so expensive, but in the real life, it can be expensive.
Well, Norbert, your championship lead is maintained. 1 win out of 2 races, not a bad evening. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And so, with a time penalty to Norbert, but the same time penalty to Sasha Lentz. Sasha in third place. Let's see if we can quickly speak to Sasha, possibly in German, and we'll try and translate. Sasha, well done. Third place, another podium and more points for you in the championship.
Ja, wir sind natürlich mega happy über das Rennergebnis jetzt im zweiten Rennen. Hatte wieder am Anfang ein bisschen Kollision gehabt. Ich glaube, das ist bei Sim-Race normal. Aber trotz allem, ich denke, wir haben gut gekämpft, war ein schönes Rennen gewesen und wir sind hochzufrieden mit dem 3. Platz.
Danke, Sasha. Sasha Lentz saying that, as ever, in the reverse grid race, there were a few collisions, but he's very happy with the way that he's come through yet again and taking third position. Once more, an action-packed race for him, and he's happy with the result. So thank you, Norbert Kish. Thank you, Sasha Lentz. And that confirms then that Tio Calve is our race winner. Second goes to Norbert Kish, and Sasha Lentz takes third position here in our second race of the evening in the FIA ETRC Digital from the Nurburgring. Well, the championship, of course, will continue because the next stop, and it's going to be in just a week's time, we'll be heading to the virtual Czech Republic. Most is the next stop on the calendar within the FIA ETRC Digital, and there's going to be action aplenty there. That is for sure. We've had then a race win for Norbert Kish, a race win for Tio Calve, and we look forward to seeing whether Norbert is going to be back on his dominant fashion next week, or whether with this opportunity now opened to beat the master, the likes of Sasha Lentz and indeed Tio Calve are going to be able to outscore Norbert Kish once more. We've had drama aplenty from the Nurburgring. There's more of the same in a week's time. Thanks for your company this evening. From David Addison and everybody else at FIA ETRC Digital, it's goodbye from the Nurburgring.